Class field trips don't have to be major all-day affairs involving buses and entry tickets. The Reggio Emilia focus on community and on the environment as the third teacher suggests that interest and learning can be sparked by informal local field trips, which can be as simple as stepping outside to explore nearby parks and public spaces, or even investigating unfamiliar parts of the school and its grounds. You can use such trips for many different kinds of activities related to your class's projects and interests. For example, to visit local points of interest, request tours of buildings or businesses, or meetings with members of the community. To collect natural objects such as pebbles, fallen leaves, and seeds. To create maps of the school or the neighborhood. To take photos or make recordings of things that interest the children, such as work sites, spider webs, birdsong, insects, clouds, or reflections in puddles. Or to do activities such as making rubbings of textures or drawings of what the children see. The first things you will need for this activity are an idea of what to explore that is related to a project or interest of the class or a curriculum objective that you would like them to explore, and a plan for how, where, and when to explore it. If you can't think of a field trip that would mesh well with the current curiosities of your students, you may want to first exercise your role as teacher researcher, listening carefully to the students as they ask questions, express concerns and confusions, or argue with each other about their understandings of the world. What you hear and notice may inspire an exploration that will enrich those understandings and give the class a common experience as a starting point for future discussions and projects. It's also an option simply to start by taking the class to a place where they are likely to be intrigued by something that's relevant to your curriculum goals, and then pursue the interests that develop from the trip. This can be a good way to jumpstart new projects. For neighborhood field trips, the destination should be very close to the school, an easy and safe walk for the children. Outdoor areas such as parks and playgrounds work well. So do public indoor spaces where a group of children would be welcome, such as a program room in a public library, or the entrance area of a government building, or even a local business. Particularly for young children, a local point of interest can be something as simple as the largest tree in the neighborhood, or a playground with unusual features, a bridge across a stream or pond, or a building that birds are nesting on. Taking the time to purposefully look at things that are familiar and encouraging questions and discussion about them can be a great starting point for learning. Even for informal field trips, you will of course also need whatever is required by safety considerations and school policies, such as obtaining parental permissions and finding additional adults to act as trip chaperones. If you're planning to visit an indoor area, you'll also want to call ahead to check on visitation policies and make arrangements with the appropriate people in the building. As you make your own preparations, you may also want to have a class meeting to discuss safety rules and other expectations, such as what can and cannot be gathered and brought back to the classroom, especially if the class is not already accustomed to such trips. A Reggio Emilia approach to class meetings means giving everyone a chance to voice their questions, concerns, and understandings. This establishes rules that the students understand and agree on, which will help the class act as a cohesive group during the activity. If the trip is related to a current project, the students may also develop an interest in preparing something for the trip, for example, a song or other performance to present in a public space, or letters to the editor or to City Hall regarding a local concern that the children are studying, or a list of questions to ask. If so, you'll want to budget time to allow the class to prepare for the trip. Depending on the goals of the trip, you may also want to bring things such as arts materials, paper and pencils, cameras, recorders, or other ways to document what's encountered and the children's questions and reactions to it. In particular, an open-ended exploration should be treated as an opportunity to document what the children say, recording or writing down interesting questions and comments that are worth further discussion in class, or taking photographs of the things that get the children's attention. Even if the trip has a more specific purpose, taking a Reggio-Emilia approach means listening for interesting or surprising comments. For example, if you visit a statue to talk about a local hero, but the children ask a lot of questions about how the statue was made or why its shoes are shinier than its head, taking a Reggio-Emilia approach means following up on that genuine interest, including it as a new direction for your project. You may also come across an unexpected object that interests the children, such as a tree that's been hit by lightning or a sidewalk that's been dug up as part of a construction project, leading to unexpected experiences, curiosities, and learning. Follow-up activities don't have to happen immediately after the trip, particularly if you have documented it well. If you want each child to contribute their own memories, for example by creating a See, Think, Wonder sheet, that is best done while their own impressions are still fresh in their minds. Otherwise, when you revisit the trip in class discussions and activities, you can remind them of the trip by showing photographs, playing recordings, or reading aloud some of the comments and questions that were raised during the trip. This also is good Reggio-Emilia practice, since it gives the children sufficient time to think and wonder about an experience, to draw tentative conclusions, and develop their own theories. Following up on their conclusions and theories and reminding them of their own learning processes helps them learn how to learn and develops higher-level thinking skills. As well as finishing any activities that started on the outing, such as doing something with the objects they gathered or the creative works they made. Other good follow-up activities include documenting the trip in ways that encourage the children to continue thinking about it, and class discussions in which everyone has a chance to talk about what they noticed and ask further questions. Provocations and activities that help them satisfy the curiosities and answer the questions raised by the trip are also good ideas. For example, activities that continue to explore birdsong or construction projects or reflections. Another thing you'll want to do soon after the trip is to assess how it went and reflect on what happened and what you might want to try the next time you lead a neighborhood exploration. Here are some questions from a Reggio-Emilia perspective that might help. What aspects of the trip did or did not work well from your perspective? And what did or did not work well from the children's perspective? And what might you try next time to make the trip go more smoothly? What surprised you about what the children said or asked about or showed interest in? And what types of provocations, activities, experiments, discussions, creations, or classroom visits from other adults could you organize to help the children explore those interests? What indications are there that their interests could lead to a long-term class project or small group projects? This post-trip assessment will help you continue to organize short local outings that are enjoyable learning experiences for the entire class.